Thanks for joining us and welcome to Sex in the News. Tonight, we're going to bring you a couple of stories. We're going to talk a little bit about what your finger size may say about your sexuality. We'll talk a little bit about the implications of the abortion ban in Mississippi. We're going to talk also about a small traditional village in Austria and a problem that they're having with their name. And then we're going to end up with a little bit about the implication of the 23andMe and all of these Ancestry.com type of projects.
Thanks for joining us. We are the Siegel Brothers. Our first story tonight is about the Mississippi ban, the 15-week abortion ban, and what it could mean. It's pretty clear that this is the very reason why Amy Coney Barrett was put on the Supreme Court.
Yes.
In a mad dash rush in the last month.
Right. In the case of Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, this is going to be the first one in the
the first of many
cases.
cases that have already been rejected that are being appealed likely all the way to the Supreme Court.
Right.
Right? This is, again, as the title says, banning abortions at 15 weeks, which is still in the first trimester.
And again, part of it is, there's always been a little bit of that wiggle room for pro-choice supporters, in that there's that point of viability, right? And one of the things that really hadn't come up before were these pre-viability bans. Again, for people that don't quite understand, viability refers to the point in development in the pregnancy where the fetus could survive outside the mother's body.
Which is completely random, which could be 2 months for one fetus and 8.5 months for another.
Well, not really. It still has to be a certain time. There's still a minimum, and generally about 24 to 28 weeks, because one of the things that has to happen before viability is there have to be lungs. There have to be physical structures that develop, and that doesn't really develop until 22 or so weeks, right. 24 weeks.
But I'm saying there are some fetuses that don't survive, that can't survive on their own, even late term.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember this old-fashioned idea of quickening.
Yeah.
They say when they could detect fetal heartbeats. But,
that's a pump. The heart is a pump that actually starts very early in the process to get things moving. Right? While it's still an inch long and looking like a baby lizard, there's a heart. Right? Heart doesn't mean humanity. No matter how many times we do these little symbols, it does not say anything about life. It does not say anything about one's humanness. It's just a pump. So this is going to be an interesting test, right? And it's really going to test even those conservatives, right? The 6 out of the 9 justices.
And they point out that there are 2 additional cases now on the docket for this newly conservative court to deliberate on. The American Medical Association versus Alex Azar is a challenge to the Title X gag rule. And the other from Kentucky State Attorney General challenges the federal court's ruling that blocked Kentucky's ban on dilation and extraction, or a D&C type surgical abortion procedure.
Right, which are often late-term procedures.
But no. Not, you're right.
Yeah. So we really have to be very prepared and very aware of what's going on with all of this kind of stuff, because this monkey's going to try to do as much damage before he leaves as he can. And this is part of the damage that he can do.
Well, I mean, and as you've been talking about for a long time with all this quiet but steady stacking of the courts, the damage is going to be done long after Trump is gone. And, for decades, the Supreme Court is going to be very far swung to the right. Unless, Wouldn't be a bad idea for Biden to put 3 or 4 more judges on the bench.
You know what? There's really nothing to stop him.
Nope.
There really isn't. It is
Been
legal.
done before.
That's right. That's right. So
There's nothing in the Constitution that says the Supreme Court must have 9 justices.
Nope.
There's been, I think, as few as 5 and as many as 13.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the way this administration has dealt with precedent and tradition, there's a new precedent and tradition
Yeah.
in not honoring any of that. So please keep watch of all this stuff, and we'll certainly do what we can to help keep you apprised of that as well.
This is a bizarre study out of England.
Yes, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The length.
A lot of people are going to hear this and go, "Oh,
Right, that's right. Okay, hands in the pockets. Right. Again, the headline on this is the length of your ring and index fingers could reveal your sexuality. Right? And in a sense, what
this is
they're
one of
talking
these
about.
twin studies,
Right.
right?
Right.
Not a very large one. They looked at 32 pairs of twins, 18 female and 14 male, in which the twins had different sexualities, where one is heterosexual and one is gay or lesbian. They found that lesbian siblings had more typical male hands than their heterosexual twins. And what does it say? If your ring finger is longer than your index finger.
Right. So if this finger is longer than this finger.
Okay. So let's see.
Or they're the same size.
They're the same size on one hand and longer on the other.
Right.
What does
yeah,
that
well,
mean?
I have that as well. Mine's slightly bigger on this hand than it is on this hand. They're the same size here, slightly bigger here. But what this study is saying, and sorry, it is one of those almost laughable things, that if the ring finger is longer than the index finger, you might be gay. Right? You might be gay. Right? Not you are, not you will. They're just saying the likelihood.
And those who are the same length, heterosexual.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, go science.
Right. Now, this is another science gone wrong story.
Yeah.
Apparently, the popularity of these DNA tests, which I'm never the conspiratorial paranoid type.
Oh,
but
I am.
Something bugs me about people voluntarily sending their DNA to these companies, and
Well, I got news for
they
you.
ain't getting mine.
With these DNA kits
They don't have it already.
and my paranoia about Alexa and Siri, every single one of them have come true.
Yeah.
So I don't consider myself paranoid. I consider myself aware.
Yeah. So anyway, this was a case in Ohio where a family took one of those 23andMe DNA kits as Christmas gifts last year. And the woman was shocked to learn that the man she called her father for 24 years, according to the test, is not her father. Instead, they discovered that the sperm inseminated into her mother belonged to another man who may have been an employee at Christ Hospital, where she delivered the baby. The family filed a lawsuit. Now, is this a bust or is this a bad test?
Well, I don't think it's a bad test. It is a bust. But I think the question here, who got busted? Right? In this particular case, I think it was this hospital worker who may have gotten busted. But how many moms, how many women are getting busted through these 23andMe type of thing? Right? That's how they're often finding out these kids are not a genetic match to their so-called fathers.
Oops.
Right? So yeah, think about it before you do it.
Or at least talk to your parents.
Right. And do a little quick check of your own history.
Yes.
Our final story, again, is just one of those that we cannot let slide.
And we couldn't possibly make this up.
No, we really can't. I'll start with the lead of the article here, which says disgruntled locals of a small traditional community are often disturbed to find naked couples romping in front of the village's signposts. Now, here's the headline. A village called Fucking, it has to change its name after tourists are having sex next to their sign. Right?
Randy tourists.
Yes, randy tourists are having sex next to their sign. There's a village in Austria called Fucking, and it has been forced to change its name After all of these people have been, all these tourists are coming in and having sex in front of their sign. Right? Again, I can understand that. It's sort of like when first time we drove by a sign on, I think it was Route 70 across the state of Florida. First time we saw the city, Lorida, Florida. We had to stop and take a picture.
It's Lorida.
Right? Now imagine if you are driving through and you see a sign that says, "Welcome to fucking." Of course you have to stop and take a picture of that.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, we've had Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
That makes kids giggle.
That's
Can
right.
you imagine if, I guess it loses in translation from Austrian. But
probably, but this is the name of the town.
What's the solution?
Right. Well, yeah, and the residents of the village have said, we've grown very tired of it, and we're doing something about it. We are a very traditional community, and we find this sort of public display shocking. So after the new year, starting January 1st of 2021, the name of fucking is going to be changed to thugging.
There's a good
With
fix.
2 G's. All right? So no one would ever go back to the old name.
And screw in front of the
Yes.
sign.
And they hope that by changing it to fugging, that will deter frisky visitors. Right.
Sex trivia.
I love this world. It's great.
And as we like to do on Sex in the News, we finish with a piece we call Poetic Justice.
Indeed.
Our opportunity to call out hypocrisy.
And who is our hypocrite of the week?
Ooh, this one gives me extreme pleasure to call out Jim Jordan, an angry bastard, Republican senator from Ohio. It's been known for a long time that he was involved in attempting to cover up sexual abuse of minors at Ohio State University when he was the wrestling coach. He wasn't accused of the sexual abuse. It was the team doctor. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah.
That Larry Nassar from the United States Olympic
team.
gymnastic
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
But what's news, or at least more current, is that allegations surfaced earlier this year from one of the many victims that Senator Jordan was, quote, repeatedly crying and begging him not to corroborate accounts of sexual abuse against the university's wrestling team doctor that occurred when Jordan was a coach.
Right. And he has constantly denied knowing anything about it, yet so many of these guys on the team had come to him and talked to him about it. And again, the fact that now we kind of know that he was crying, literally in tears, begging these students not to report it. Right? A man of real high integrity.
Yeah.
And because of that, Jim Jordan, you spineless bastard, we salute you as this week's Poetic Justice.
Finger length.
Yes, indeed. So.
Join us next Sunday for more Sex in the News.